Independent Malayalam Radio.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to Star on LMR with RJ Ramya. Ungal Yosanai N-O-S-I. In the show, we talk to high achievers and celebrities about their life, their passion, their journey, and learn from their experiences. So, inniki andha vagela, konja yosicha, what is music? Celebrate it's joy, happiness. Others say it's peace, and for some it's love, and many, many more things for a lot of people. Enaketa music is a channel that connects our soul to the supreme. And it is great musicians who strengthen that bond. So, அந்த வகையில நம்ம மீட் பண்ண போறது ஒரு supremely talented world-class musician, composer, songwriter, someone who defines fusion, the great Karthik Iyer. Vanga, let's chat to him about his melodies, music, and milestones in his life. Welcome to Star on LMR, sir. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you and to have you on our show. How are you?
I'm good, Ramya. Thank you very much for having me on Star on LMR. And thank you for the introduction.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure, sir. Sir, ஆரம்பிக்கும்போது, being as famous as you are, உங்க போட்டோ நாங்க நிறைய இடத்துல பார்த்திருப்போம். சோஷியல் மீடியா, நியூஸ் ஆர்டிகல்ஸ், மியூசிக் சர்க்கிள்ஸ், அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய இடத்துல. ஸோ இதுல எல்லாத்துலயும் ஒரு காமன் ஃபீச்சர், தட் பியூட்டிஃபுல் இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்ட் இன் யுவர் ஹேண்ட். ஒரு யூஷுவல் வயலின் மாதிரி இல்லாம ஒரு ஸ்பேஸ் ஏஜ் இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்ட் மாதிரி இருக்கு. ஸோ அதை பத்தி கொஞ்சம் சொல்லி ஆரம்பிச்சானா, அண்ட் ஹவு இட் கான்ட்ரிபியூட்ஸ் டு யூ அண்ட் வாட் யூ டூ வித் இட், அதை பத்தி ஆரம்பிக்கலாம்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
Of course, I think it's befitting that we speak about my instrument because that's what's defined my life for the majority of the last decade or more. So this is an electric violin. I've been using electric violins since 2006-7, I think. Okay. This is one of my recent ones. I got this custom made in Chennai.
Lovely.
So electric violin, I started using it because I wanted to be able to play in a band in a loud setting on stage. But then I quickly found out that it has so many other advantages of being able to process the violin, make it sound like two violins are playing, like 4-5 violins are playing, like a cello. So there are so many things that you can do with it. So it's an interesting, when I started playing, in fact, Ramya, the number of people who are playing electric violin was very, very less.
Correct.
At that point of time in the 2000s. But now it's become something that every violinist carries and every violinist plays. So I'm pretty happy to see how it's developed as an individual. It's got an individual expression outside of the acoustic violin, like the electric guitar has compared to the acoustic guitar.
Yeah. So ஆனா அதுல கத்துக்கிற விதம் அதெல்லாமும் டிஃப்ரெண்டா இருக்குமா? So how you practice electricல வாசிக்கிறதுக்கும் இப்போ somebody who has learned it in a traditional violin, இதுல மாத்திக்கிறதுக்கு, is it very difficult to change into this or it's quite easy, adaptable?
It's pretty easy and adaptable. So as you can see, this part of the fingerboard and the strings is pretty much the same as the acoustic violin. What is different is, number wood violin there is a wood part which is basically the resonant chamber from which the sound gets generated. What we have here is the bridge that carries the sound from the strings. It goes to a pickup which is not seen, but this black sort of a strip houses a pickup.
Okay.
From there on, we have a piezoelectric pickup where the sound gets converted into electric waves and then goes through a wire to the speaker.
Right.
So that's the basic difference between the acoustic and the electric. Having said that, I have a 5-string. So for students of violin out there, it takes a bit of adjustment. About a month to get used to the 5-string violin compared to the 4-string.
Right.
And in general, electric violin, you can play pretty much the same as the acoustic violin, except for maybe a slight modifications to your bowing, because the sound generation is different. So slight modifications, tavara, it's all pretty much the same. So someone who has been playing acoustic violin for say a year can easily pick up an electric violin and play.
Okay, lovely, lovely. That's nice to know, sir. So today is our chance, Nanikare, to get a real close-up of that beauty in your hand. So please, can you play something for us and show its versatility and beautiful future piece, please? Out of the world, out of the world. Rumba, 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 rumba enjoy. So thank you so much. It was absolutely fabulous. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
sir, in today's well-connected world, we come across multitudes of talented stars, Ilya. So, அந்த வகையில, but someone like you who is very unique, அப்படின்னா என்கிட்ட கேட்டா நான் நிறைய சொல்லுவேன். நீங்க அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணுவேன் இப்படி இப்படின்னு. I will tell you நிறைய பெரிய கதையெல்லாம் I can say. But I think all of us would like to hear it from you. What do you think is your USP or ஒரு speciality, unique speciality உங்ககிட்ட இருந்து அப்படின்னு சொல்லணும்னா?
Before I answer your question, if I might, I just like to give a shout out to Siddharth Kumar, who played the piano in Telesi Rama.
Absolutely.
And of course, moving on to your answer, for me, I feel like I've learned everything with a lot of hard work, as far as being a violinist, as far as being a musician, or even being a singer. So I've put in a lot of hard work. For me, it feels like everything has required a lot of hours, a lot of determination. But one thing I feel, thanks to my gurus, or thanks to the I don't know, maybe it's just luck, is that there is a sense of soul in the playing which a lot of people attribute to. This is something which maybe it comes from my sensitivity as a person. I don't know, but this is something that I know that I haven't really worked on specifically. So I would answer your question by saying that I feel is one of my USPs. As far as I've seen people react to it and people comment on my music, this is something that keeps coming up.
Absolutely. I think அது வந்து அந்த connectivity everybody நான் இனிஷியலா சொன்ன மாதிரி it is a channel that connectsங்கிற அந்த ஒரு clarity வந்து anytime we listen to you is definitely there, sir. So absolutely, I totally agree and thank you so much for that. அந்த வகையில ஒரு ரெண்டு special name words that come to my mind is Indo Soul. Two words that mean the world to a lot of music lovers all over the world. So tell us about your beginning, growth, and what we can expect in the future and உங்களோட journey பத்தி Indo Soul.
So my journey with Indo Soul has played a a huge part in the past 8 years. We are 8 years old now, and completing nine, in fact, coming May. It all started with I was a freelancer playing for a lot of outfits like Raghu Dixit Project, Emergence, Oxygen, and I always wanted to make my own music and become, sort of put into motion certain ideas that I had of how Carnatic music can coexist as a fusion or as a world music genre.
Hmm.
So that's how the idea for Indo Soul started, and I got together with a few friends
Okay.
for my sister's marriage in 2012, where we were asked to play in reception. So I just got together with a few friends, including Sumesh Narayanan, who plays till date for Indo Soul,
Yeah.
and that I would say marked sort of the first concert of Indo Soul, and it we got a very good reception. So I thought I'd use that opportunity and also use the fact that uh, we made a lot of waves in the wedding market. So I thought I'll use that opportunity to start to meet musicians more regularly, put a team together, and also work on an original set of musics, our own compositions, etc.
Correct.
So that's basically how Indo Soul started. So soon we released in a couple of years. Um, we got a team in place. Um, Alvin, Naveen, Ramkumar, Reshwin, Vikram. So we had a lot of musicians that were playing for us at different stages,
Mhm.
and we put together our first album, "Looking Within to Look Beyond," in 2015,
Yeah.
which became a very very big talking point here, at least in Chennai and online, of course.
Yes.
We did a concert in a museum theater. It was a overflowing concert. It sort of put us on the map, not just as a band that plays contemporary Carnatic and film, but also as a band that could make its own music that had a specific sound to it. And in the years to follow, we worked on our second, third, and we're working right now on our fourth album as
Yeah.
we speak.
Lovely, lovely. That's really very nice to see, sir. And good wishes for all your future endeavors and best of luck for that.
Thank you so
So,
much.
sir, இப்போ நம்மள மாதிரி ஒரு children who bloomed in late 90s and the new millennium அப்படின்னு சொல்லும்போது had a fabulous advantage of the explosion of technology, இல்லையா? Ranging from the growth of the internet, which gave access to the world music as a whole. So an entirely new range of instruments, software, or create பண்ற music இருக்கட்டும், or social media which promotes you creation and almost universal audience. எங்க இருந்தாலும் பரவாயில்ல, there will be a set of audience for youங்கிற மாதிரி. இது எல்லாத்துலயும் வந்து, in your view, which one is the most important and how has that changed the landscape of music ன்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க இந்த developmental இதுல? Overall music world and பார்க்கும்போது, which is a very important thing that has changed நீங்க நினைக்கிறீங்க?
I feel, as far as the Indian music context is concerned, obviously the emergence of A.R. Rahman has played a huge role.
Mhm.
When you talk about 90s, that's the
Yeah.
only thing. That's the first thing that I can think of. So that's played a huge role, not just for people who listen to film, but even musicians like us who also play music otherwise.
Yeah.
Uh, of course, a lot of these things were there prevalent in the West even before, but A.R. Rahman was, bought everything and just sort of exposed us and made us experience all these things with the first two, three albums. So he created a big wave. And I feel it's being techie, being technical, being attuned to gadgets and stuff like that is something that comes more naturally to us, kids who were probably born in 80s, late 80s, and sort of had our childhood in the 90s, and of course goes without saying all the other generations after that.
Yeah.
So to include that as part of music is something that has led to a lot of interesting music, interesting genres, and I feel it has made music more diverse. While the old styles of Carnatic, Hindustani, or the live band, that has also stayed pretty relevant in India,
Hmm.
and I'm sure everywhere else around the world as well. So I feel like it's added a lot more variety in terms of the kind of choices that any music listener has.
Okay. Okay, nice. ஸோ நம்ம ஒரு வெஸ்டர்ன் கான்சர்ட்டோ இல்லைன்னா கர்நாடிக் கான்சர்ட் பார்க்கும்போது ஸ்ட்ராங் பிளேஸ் ஃபார் வயலின் வித் டெம் இஸ் தேர் இல்ல ஒரு எனி வெஸ்டர்ன் கான்சர்ட் ஒரு கர்நாடிக்லயும் வந்து வயலின் பக்கவாத்தியமா அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கு. அதே ஒரு ஹிந்துஸ்தானி கான்சர்ட்னு பார்க்கும்போது யூ டோன்ட் சி வயலின் இஸ் நாட் பீங் ஃபீச்சர்ட், சித்தார், சாரங் அந்த மாதிரி இது. ஈவன் தோ வயலின் இஸ் a வெரி எக்ஸ்பிரசிவ் இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்ட். அது ஏன் ஹிந்துஸ்தானில why is it that violin doesn't play a role, or do you play Hindustani music in your violin or song?
I would mildly disagree with you because there are great violinists like Srimati N. Rajam, Kala Ramnath, who plays is a contemporary violinist, but plays pure Hindustani violin. So I feel
Okay.
like violin is very relevant in Hindustani, but it shares the space with a lot of instruments like the
Okay.
sarod,
Yeah.
sitar. So, unlike Carnatic, where the primary instrument of accompaniment is violin,
Hmm.
right?
அதுதான் I meant. Yeah. Yeah.
So, in that sense, I definitely agree that violin probably, when you look at the prominence it has a higher prominence because there is nothing else that is sharing its space.
Correct.
Hindustani, like, it is prominent, but then again, you have, for example, sitar,
Yeah.
you know, largely thanks to, of course, Pandit Ravi Shankar. Then, and a lot of sarod, sarangi, shanai, a lot of instruments that are sort of sharing the space along with the violin. So it sort of becomes one of the many instruments in
Diluted
that.
it.
I wouldn't say the playing or the type of Hindustani playing you can do on the violin is diluted in any way. But
இல்ல
yes,
அதோட இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸ். ஓகே.
yes, yes. So, but I will say that although I'm a Carnatic violinist with a Western sensibility, I don't play much any pure Hindustani as such. But Hindustani can be played extremely beautifully on the violin.
Yeah.
And as you rightly said, as a very expressive instrument, the violin is, having said everything, it's a great instrument for Hindustani.
Okay. So இந்த மாதிரி ஃபியூஷன்ல you would think about a Hindustani versus or a Western combinationனும் you will think about, or would that
In where? Sorry, in where?
இல்ல இப்போ நீங்க ஃபியூஷன் மியூசிக் நம்ம சொல்லும்போது கர்நாடிக் predominantly with வெஸ்டர்ன் பண்றேன் இல்லையா, அந்த மாதிரி do you think Hindustani also would play a part in at
Yeah,
least okay.
definitely, definitely. So, if I were to say work with a Hindustani artist,
Right.
then it would give me a great chance to sort of, why restrict to two? You can showcase all the three. Have
Right.
a Hindustani, Carnatic, Jugalbandi along with Western
Western
instruments.
fusion.
Do a bagging, so you'll have all the best of both South, North India as well as the world together.
Yeah. Oh, we are just looking forward to that. I hope somebody listens to this and comes to you. Thank you, sir. So, ஒரு vocal performance கேட்கும்போது we feel the emotion in the song by understanding the meaning or context of the song with the lyrics இல்ல. ஆனா அதே அளவுக்கு words இல்லாம ஒரு வயலின்ல நீங்க அதை எப்படி கொண்டு வர முடியும்? Is there a trade secret? இப்ப நம்ம அதை சொன்ன மாதிரி தான் ஒரு emotion and இது பிகாஸ் நிறைய பேர் கேட்கிறோம், பட் சில பேர் அந்த நோட்ஸ் ஒண்டி அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும். பட் அதோட அந்த எமோஷனோட கேட்கும்போது இட் இஸ் டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ஃபீல் ஆல் டுகெதர் இல்லையா?
Yeah, it's a very good question. A lot of my students ask me this question when we when the Q&A comes up. This is always a question. I feel like there are a few factors that go into sort of showcasing the soul of a song even through an instrument. One of the main factors is if the violinist knows a bit of singing. You know, they don't have to be a professional, or they don't need to be as good a singer as they are a violinist. But
Okay.
even if they are able to sing, basically, then it helps them to express as a violinist a bit better.
Right.
It's definitely a bonus to have. There are violinists who don't sing, uh, but definitely this is one huge thing. In fact, even in Hindustani, you have this gaiki style, which is basically the sung style in which the violin is played.
Okay.
And we don't have a term here in Carnatic music, but definitely there is a strong push towards playing it like how the voice works.
Okay.
And there are certain bowing techniques with which you can sort of mimic the lyrics to a large extent.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the violin can't speak words, but the violin can speak the emotion of the
Yeah.
lyrics.
Okay. சார் ஏதான ஒரு ஃபேமஸ் பீஸ் எடுத்து அந்த மாதிரி ஜஸ்ட் ஒரு ஸ்ட்ரெயிட் நோட்டா ஒரு லைனோ அதே ஒரு எமோஷனோடையும் பண்ணி காமிக்க முடியுமா சார்?
Yeah, sure. So let's take the song Maruvarte.
Yeah,
It's a well-known song. So
absolutely.
the song is a very simple melody. It's a beautiful melody, but it's a sort of a beauty that comes from the simplicity, and it's based in Raga Adesh. So you have மறுவார்த்தை பேசாதே மடி மீது நீ தூங்கிடு இமை போல நான் காக்க கனவாய் நீ மாறிடு. So you have these lines which has a lot of lyrical beauty to it. But
Mm,
if you look at just the swaras, it's
mm.
mama pa 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 mama pa 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 mama pa 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 da ni da pa mari pa pa pa. So again, it's the thing is very simple. So if I were to play it, I would use bowing where I could sort of speak the words a bit in terms of number. You say long syllable, short syllable,
Yeah.
and also with respect to the vibrato,
Mm.
where I'll just play it as I would
Yeah.
play it in a concert, for instance.
Aha. Aha. Superb, superb, superb.
So I guess if I were to sum up, it's a combination of how the fingers can give a few vibratos, how your bowing can give you dynamics with respect to your highs and lows, and uh, and also the lyrics. The lyrics has to, when the listener is listening, they should be able to sort of how to say envision the lyrics. Lyrics
Ah,
கேட்கணும் உள்ள, although they're
ஆமா.
listening to the melody on a violin,
Yeah.
and the lyrics உள்ள internal பேசணும். So that's important. So the bowing counts for a lot in that.
ரைட் ரைட். எக்ஸலென்ட் எக்ஸலென்ட். அதே மாதிரி நீங்க வந்து வயலின் கூடவே பிறந்ததுனால நிறைய கான்சர்ட் கேட்டுப்பேன்ல, டிஃப்ரெண்ட் கிரேட் லெஜெண்ட்ஸ் லைக் லால்குடி சார், குன்னக்குடி சார், எல் சுப்ரமணியன், அந்த மாதிரி அவளோட டிஃப்ரெண்ட் கான்சர்ட்ஸ். ஈச் ஒன் ஆஃப் தெம் ஹேவ் தேர் ஓன் ஸ்பெஷாலிட்டி டு த எக்ஸ்டென்ட் தட் ஒரு பாட்டு கேட்டானா இது இவர் தான் வாசிக்கிறாருன்னு சொல்லிட முடியும் இஃப் பீப்புள் ஆர் லிசன் டு சோ மச் இல்லையா? ஸோ அதே ஒரு ராகமா இருந்தாலும். ஸோ ஹூ இஸ் த, இப்போ வந்து எப்படி அதை இது பண்ணலாம்னா அந்த வகையில் வாட் வுட் யூ கன்சிடர் யோர் சிக்னேச்சர் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா, ஸோ அவளை வந்து ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ற மாதிரி உங்களோட ஐடென்டிஃபைங் மார்க் அந்த மாதிரி சிக்னேச்சர் ஏதானோ இருக்கா?
I would have to go to my my first and the primary guru that I had, Sri V. Tyagarajan.
Yeah.
He comes from a style that is known as Papa Venkatramaya style.
Uh-huh.
It was later popularized a lot by the violinist T.N. Krishnan.
Yeah.
So that style is a very simplistic style, but a very soulful style. So I
Okay.
guess if I didn't have to work hard to be soulful, it's
Yes,
I
yes.
owe a lot to my guru Sri V. Tyagarajan. So that I would say is sort of will always remain my signature. Outside of that, though, I have listened to intensively to Lalgudi Jayaraman sir, MSG, L Subramaniam, of course, and L Shankar, who have
Mm.
all been a
Yeah.
huge inspiration. So for me, I've always been very interested in taking a bit from each, whatever I liked.
Okay.
So so if someone listens to my playing, it's a combination of a lot of
All
things.
of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I feel like that's something that has really enriched my playing, is to be exposed to such great artists who all had their own signature style, and I've just taken what felt good to me, and I have added it to my own signature style, which I learned from my guru.
That's so nice. Sweet. So over the years, Carnatic music has sometimes, gained a reputation for being very traditional. இல்லையா இப்போ நீங்க இதுல இருந்து பிரேக் த்ரூ பண்ணி ரொம்ப ட்ரெடிஷ்னலா வாசிக்கிறவ sometimes they might not appreciate when you step out or into the fusion. Did you face any challenges? ஏன்னா முன்னாடி you used to play for Carnatic கச்சேரிஸ் எல்லாம் இல்லையா, ஸோ அதுல இருந்து நீங்க ஃபியூஷன் போகும்போது உங்களோட குருவோ இல்ல ஃபேமிலி மெம்பர்ஸ் ஆர் எனிபடி for that matter ஏதாவது challenges இருந்ததா or how did you deal with it?
Um, the challenge was sort of the challenge came along with the fact that I had just finished college and I wanted to take up music as a profession. So there was a larger challenge in my personal familial atmosphere, where I did get a job placement along with after my college,
Yeah.
and I did not want to take that up. So I had to uh, I needed the support of my parents. After some hesitation, they agreed to support me on my journey,
Okay.
which made a big difference to to whoever I am now. Is that really helped my parents as well as my sister. As far so sort of within that was the whole fusion thing. So for me, I felt like I wanted to set myself up as a fusion musician, not as a traditional musician, because in the traditional confines, I was playing that for many years till
Mm.
college,
Yeah.
and I still play traditional music, not in kacheris, but I still play that
Yeah.
format very much. So I felt like I couldn't. I felt like I was leading a musical life which was only constrained to something that was narrower than what my interests were.
Mm-mm.
I
Okay.
like to listen to English bands. I like to listen to, at that point of time, Michael Jackson, a lot of other artists. So I felt like it was two identities of me listening to this and then to Carnatic music. And for me, I felt like it would be nice to bring everything together. And fusion, in a sense, offered me that chance to do it.
Right. Okay. Lovely, lovely. Excellent, sir. So நம்ம இப்போ குரு அப்படின்னு ஃபேமிலி பத்தி நீங்க ஸ்லைட்டா மென்ஷன் பண்ணல, பட் தென் ஐ திங்க் இட் இஸ் ரியலி வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் டு டாக் அபவுட் தெம் அண்ட் அவங்களோட சப்போர்ட் சிஸ்டம் இல்லாம ஆஸ் யூ செட் அது இருக்காதுன்னு. So we would like to know more about your family and gurus who have helped you to shape and be what you are today.
Sure. I'll start with my gurus. First, Chinna Vaisla, I learnt vocals from my Chinna Tata, Kalkata Krishnamurti.
Uh-huh.
He's a very senior and revered musician, revered not just as a musician but as a guru. He is
Okay.
the guru for a lot of the big musicians that are there today.
Yeah.
Of course, our kita na katukumbodha, I was very young. so I was just playing around.
Okay.
So I wasn't too serious because I was too young at that point of time.
Right.
Then I learnt violin from Sri V. Tyagarajan,
Uh-huh.
and later on I went to T. Rukmani Mami after Mama passed away.
Right.
Uh, T. Rukmani Mami Kita I learned for a couple of years, and then I learnt Western violin from Sri V. S. Narasimhan.
Uh-huh.
So he helped me teach a lot of Western techniques as well,
Okay.
on top of my Carnatic learning. I'm also a formally trained vocalist. I learned. I started again with my Tata Kalkata Krishnamurti Tata, and I went to Akila Shiva Mami.
Uh-huh.
I learned from her for many years, and then later on from her son, Sri Vijay
Okay.
Shiva,
Yeah.
who's a senior, very senior musician, and I learned Western vocals from Augustin sir, Augustin Paul sir, and now I've been doing some voice technique classes with Shyamala Vinod ma'am,
Okay.
and that's my class now that I'm going to. She's really helped me to, get my voice out and make it rich. So this morning also I had a class.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's what I'm doing now with respect to my vocals.
Lovely.
As far as my family goes, my father, Srinivasan, he's no more. My mother, Uma Srinivasan, and my sister is Radhika. My wife is Jayashree Ramamurthy, who's a Bharatanatyam dancer,
Nice.
uh, but also does professionally. She runs a food startup called the Good Life Eatery here, and we have a son who's 2 years old called Achint.
Lovely. அவருக்கு பாட்டு மியூசிக்ல இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இருக்கா? நீங்க வாசிக்கும் போது he does come and help you out.
He's 2 years old, so I think it's a bit too soon. But let's see. He does seem to. He always nods his head when we play music. He's interested,
Right.
but whether that translates into something bigger, we'll have to wait and watch.
Yeah. Sure, sure. We are looking forward to it. So next we'll move on to another huge family, the one who's were not born into your family, but one who have adopted you into their lives. அப்படின்னா சொல்லணும். A huge battalion of fans. அந்த வகையில I want to introduce you to somebody, a super duper fan of yours, Mrs. Sujata அப்படின்னு சொல்லி. She's in Birmingham, and she's a singer, teacher, and a performer herself. So we have got her on with the meeting. Sujata.
Hi, Ramya.
Hi.
Hello, Karthik. Hi.
Hello. Hi.
I'm just pinching myself to find out if this moment is real. Super, super excited to meet you here. Thanks to Ramya. Karthik, I'm your fan since 2015 when I first knew about you. And ever since, I've been following you on Facebook and enjoying all your performances. Absolutely mind blowing. Really, really proud to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Pava, I think she would like to tell you, Sujata, I am sure he would love to know எப்படி நீங்க you became his fan, and also Pava, I don't think she also slept last night thinking that she's going to see you all on video today.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story actually. அப்போ அந்த டைம்ல வந்து we had an event in our music school. We wanted to do it in a big way and very different. So அப்போ வந்து I was thinking about a fusion on வெள்ளை பூக்கள் because of the message it conveys about peace. And so அந்த மாதிரி யோசிச்சுட்டு இருக்கச்ச naturally I just went into internet to find out if anyone has done to take the inspiration. ஸோ அப்படி ப்ரௌஸ் பண்ணுறச்ச உங்களோட அந்த ஃபியூஷன் இட் கேம் ஐ கேம் அக்ராஸ் தட் ஃபியூஷன் கார்த்திக் அண்ட் வென் ஐ ஸ்டார்டட் டு பிளே தட் இட் சவுண்டட் ஸோ டிவைன் அண்ட் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் ஐ வாஸ் ஆல்சோ ஹியரிங் தட் எலக்ட்ரிக் வயலின் as well. And the whole piece was simply mesmerizing. It started off with Vellai Pookal and then a big sequence of notes and keyboard. I don't know who played the keyboard. Absolutely awesome. And அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் அந்த highlight came where I think you played a big sequence of swaras for about 2-3 minutes, I think, maybe non-stop in a fast space. And then after that it transitions to Pura Kumbhasham Vatapiyoda Charanam. அமேசிங். அது அந்த பாட்டு கேட்டவொடனே அந்த யூனோ அன்னைக்கு நான் அதை ஒரு 50 டைம்ஸ் ஆகுது கேட்டிருப்பேன் ஆக்சுவலா. simply mind-blowing sequence it was. And then, I'm not exaggerating even a bit. Actually, it was such an earworm, and I was playing so many times. And then I was dissecting each and every bit of it, wrote down the swaras, and I was trying it in vocals, and finally took that as a base to do this performance. And all credit goes to you. In the link, I sent it to all my students, and all of them simply enjoyed that piece. I think it's one of your highlights. I think really, really beautiful. And then I started following you, and I just loved your so many pieces actually. Manavya Lakincha and Raghuvamsha Sudha, and even the recent one, Manasa Sancharare. Amazing. அது என்ன ஒரு மேஜிக்னே தெரியல. You are a magician, definitely. Amazing, really.
Thank you very much.
I thought because இங்க நிறைய பேர் இருக்கோம் நாங்க உங்களோட fans, and it will be a nice opportunity for you to get one of a glimpse of your fan, ரொம்ப die-hard fan சொல்லி we just thought it will be a nice twist to the show. Thank you for
That's a very
joining us.
nice gesture. It's nice to meet you, Sujata. Thank you.
Nice to meet you as well. And I just wanted to tell you that I also got I'm proud to say that I got the like top fan badge from Facebook.
Okay. All right. That's
And,
nice.
yeah, just thanks Ramya and Jiva for giving me this opportunity. And as a fan of yours, Karthik, and on behalf of all your fans, just a small request from me. And if you can, like, is it possible for you to play something in ragams like Latangi or Mandu or something, just to show your magic? Mind blowing.
Awesome. Fortunate நமக்கு இப்படி கேட்டு கிடைக்கிறது.
Absolutely mind blowing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. Thank you. And thanks, Ramya.
Thank you.
I'll take
Take
leave.
care. Yeah,
Bye.
thank you. Moving on, obviously you're a super talented solo musician, Anna. Through years you have collaborated with other musicians and formed your own band, performed through the world, exceptional level. So when you get a keen group of performers together, நிறைய ஐடியாஸ் வரும், எக்கச்சக்கமா கிரியேட்டிவ் கான்செப்ட்ஸ் அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் டெவலப் ஆகும், ஷேரிங் ஐடியாஸ் அண்ட் பவுன்சிங் பேக் அந்த மாதிரி. ஸோ எல்லாருக்கும் ஒரு ஈக்குவல் ஸ்பேஸ் கொடுத்து பிரிங்கிங் அவுட் த பெஸ்ட் இன் எவ்ரி ஒன் இஸ் அ மேசிவ் டீம் சேலஞ்ச் இல்லையா? ஹவு டு யூ மேனேஜ் தட் ஆஸ் அ டீம் ஆல் த டைம்? நல்லா எல்லாருக்கும் அந்த ஒரு இது பண்றது, how does that work in your team?
For me, it's always been important that the whole musical experience for the listener, I try to look at everything from the listener's point of view. It gets enriched when each musician is giving their best and as adding their value, not just in terms of their instrument only, which is there, but also in terms of their musical culture and their musical ideas. So the way a guitarist thinks is very different from the way a violinist thinks, and it's very different from the way a drummer or mridangist, bass guitars. Everyone have their own way of approaching music.
Correct.
So, to sort of bring all these ideas together onto a common platform and take a song forward, I feel it's not easy because there are too many ideas that come. So you need to sort of pick a few ideas and take things forward. So it can take a bit of time, but in the end, you have something that is very rich and has a very good balance of diverse things that come together. So that's always been the philosophy of Indo Soul, is to create music that is the meeting of minds between musicians, and that's how I always say that we are different from the generic fusion music tag, because fusion music, I feel a lot of the time it's just a few musicians who've gotten together on that day on stage. Each one might be brilliant, but there is no gelling, there is no sync as
Connectivity.
such with respect to something deeper.
Yeah.
So I feel like having worked with musicians for years, helps to have a level of understanding that brings music that has diverse styles, and it's deep at the same time.
Nice, nice. Absolutely. Very nice to listen. And the connectivity is very, very important. Yeah, when you work as a band, உங்களுக்குள்ள இருக்கிறதோ and to relate to everybody, a keyboard or a percussion, யார் இருந்தாலும் they should be able to relate to the audience, which gives that full effect or complete package in சொல்ற மாதிரி, which your team really does very, very well. Congratulations and kudos to all of you.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
So over the years, சின்ன வயசுல இருந்து you have shown a very enormous maturity அப்படிதான் சொல்லணும், wanting to give something back to the art that gives you so much அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி. So I'm talking about your music workshops, teaching, அதெல்லாம். So where does this passion come from?
It's always been there. Um, so, I've always wanted to teach music
Right.
at some point of time. So it's one of those things that was always, I want to do it in 2 years. So that sort of thing kept going on, which eventually never happened because performances kept me pretty busy. And so um, when the lockdowns happened in March, I had a lot of time. There
Okay.
wasn't any concerts, there were no stages, there were no people coming
Yeah.
together. So I thought it was a tough time for a lot of us musicians, but I thought, why not turn that into, a good use the time that was available to do something, with respect to teaching, because everyone had time. So I started a series of workshops, crash courses, which went very, very well. The
Mm.
main aim of my crash course was to say, the Carnatic violinist who learns from the Carnatic violin guru
Yeah.
taught a specific set of things
Correct.
uh, that are part of the Carnatic syllabus.
Mm.
But I feel like there are certain Western techniques, like how to make the violin sound good, how the accurate bow hold has to be. A lot of things with respect to the bowing are usually not considered when it comes to the average Carnatic teacher.
Mm.
Obviously, not to stereotype anyone, but
Yeah.
as far as statistically, as far as I've seen.
Mm.
So I thought, and I've learned all this by going to a Western guru, and of course with Narasimhan sir, it was hugely beneficial because he also plays Carnatic, so he was able to sort of pick out some things and tell me what it was.
Okay.
But then again, a lot of things, apart from what I learned from Narasimhan sir, a lot of things I picked up before, as just looking at YouTube and picking different Western things. So
Mm.
I had a very long path towards finding out what would add to my Carnatic violin. So now I feel like I'm in a position where I exactly know what works. What
Mm.
are the small tweaks that need to be done to enable a Carnatic musician to sort of, play better with respect to his or her Carnatic ability. So the Western discipline and the technique helps you to sort of makes everything a bit more polished, enables you to play a bit more freely. So
Mm.
I felt like I was in a position to teach that, and that's what I dealt with the crash courses, and I got very, very good feedback. So I did a few more of them. So
Nice.
about 150 students I
Amazing.
taught to, and I am very happy to let you and let everyone watching know that I'm starting an institute next month. This
Excellent.
will be it'll be an online violin technique institute where I am fixing a long-term syllabus, and it's going to be a regular Carnatic syllabus plus the Western techniques that help to make a violinist, rounded and a holistic sort of a player.
Okay.
Uh, and it's going to have a lot of bonus small things from my end as well. So
Absolutely.
I'm working on that right now as we speak. The next month it should be live. Yeah.
Hey, we are all super excited to know that, sir. Sir, நீங்க இப்போ இதை சொல்லும்போது எனக்கு இன்னொரு ஒரு சின்ன இது இருக்கு. When like people here, a lot of people learn Western music, Western violin கத்துக்கும் போது, is it easier or is it how difficult it is to adapt into a Carnatic கத்துனாதான் then they will be able to play it all round வாசிக்கிறது இல்லையா? So are there any specific Carnatic techniques that these people have to learn?
For Western players,
Yeah,
so the main thing that I get a lot of Western students. The
yeah.
main thing that they are interested in is how to play the gamakas.
Yes. And the
Which
glides எல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் sometimes I think அவ்வளோ இல்ல.
yeah, the glides and the slides,
Yeah,
which is very, very intricate in our system of music, both Carnatic as well as Hindustani.
yeah,
So that's the main question that I've been asked by Western classical musicians: how to play the slides. Some of them are very interested in Carnatic music. Some of them want to play more neutral songs, maybe like a film song, which still involves glides, which
yeah.
involves slides because the melody is Indian in the
Yes,
end.
yeah.
So that's one thing that they will have to pick up in
Okay.
order to play like a Carnatic song. Outside of that, the Indian improvisation system is something that is very, very, very special, very deep. That is something that they would, if they really want to enter the classical streams, how we improvise, the alapana, the kalpana, swaram, all those things become very, very important to learn as well.
Right. Okay. That's very informative. Thank you so much, sir. So நீங்க வந்து you have performed in various big stages. ஒரு ஸ்டுடியோல நீங்க தனியா வாசிக்கிற போதும் or ஒரு மெகா ஷோல பெர்ஃபார்ம் பண்றதுக்கும் many differences இருக்கும் இல்லையா? So the buzz, audience interaction, the huge setup, orchestra எல்லாமே சேர்த்து இது மாதிரி so many things. ஸோ அந்த டைம்ல வந்து ஆல்ரெடி ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு இது இருக்கும் என்ன ஒரு எக்ஸைட்மெண்ட் அண்ட் அட்ரினல் ரஷ் சொல்லலாம் அந்த இதுல ஹவு டு யூ மெயின்டைன் தட் கூல் அண்ட் ஆல்சோ maintain that precision in what you want to play, especially a delicate instrument like what you're doing, what you're playing.
So, with myself as well as every other musician,
Yeah.
um, let me just talk about Indosol with
Yes, please.
Ram Kumar, who plays the drums, Sumesh, who plays the mridangam percussion, Vikram, who plays the guitar, and Reshun, who plays the bass.
Yeah.
The five of us, we've played so many concerts together that, you know, even if you wake us up from sleep, we'll be able to play together. So, there is sort of a sense of a muscle memory that sets in terms of the kind of, the fingering required or the whatever phrasing is required. So then the only thing that is needed is how we vibe together on stage, and in that moment, in that second, how we gel together and how we improvise and how we create magic at that point of time.
Right.
So, and of course, the crowd plays a huge part. Just to have and it feels you feel that much more in these COVID times because we've been deprived of that.
Absolutely.
Having a good crowd, a receptive crowd, makes us always give an extra, 30, 40 or even more, 30, 40% or more. There's a lot of energy that not just the crowd gets from us, but we get from the crowd. And so it sort of leads to something that's very special for everyone together. So I think at a professional level, you have to deal with odd days where the sound might not be really good, or I think your question sort of looked at the challenges that we might have in a
Yes.
big
Yes.
show.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any pressure anymore as such in terms of playing
Okay.
on a stage because we've been doing it for years. But yes, if we go on to a really big stage, all of a sudden there might be a bit of butterflies, maybe before the concert. But again, as soon as the concert starts and the first note is played, I feel like we all tune into the concert. That goes for me personally as well. And then it's purely us and the crowd,
Okay.
working together. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Right. Lovely, lovely. So அந்த மாதிரி ஏதான ஒரு ஸ்பெஷல் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் ஆர் நீங்க அந்த மாதிரி வாசிக்கும் போது when you play எங்களுக்கு பயங்கர blissful-ஆ blessed-ஆ ஃபீல் ஆகுது அந்த மாதிரி is there any piece that you have felt that depth or that blissful இது உங்களுக்கு எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் ஆயிருக்கா while you have played with the crowd and in the atmosphere-ல எப்பயாவது?
Yes, for sure. For me, there are two kinds of songs. One is a song like, say, Manavyala Kinchara,
Hmm.
which is for me it's a very personal experience.
Right.
So I tend to close my eyes and I just play. So it's more of a classical musician in me where I shut everything off. It's just myself and the instrument.
Right.
That's a very deeply, I feel like it's a very deeply meditative spiritual experience for me,
Uh-huh.
to play something like that.
Right.
On the other end are the groovy songs. We play quite a few dance numbers. We
Okay.
play songs where, get people to clap, people to jump, towards the end of the set, especially. For me, those songs are directly a conversation with the crowd, where you're vibing with the crowd, you're smiling at the crowd, and you're going to the different parts of the crowd to
Yeah.
sort of engage them. So there are these two different type of experiences which I experience while playing a concert, and both happen in the same concert depending on the type of song that's involved.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah, there are a lot of moments of both these types that happen within a concert in itself.
Lovely, lovely. So, sir, please, can you play us that special piece that is close to your heart? Any of them? Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much. Lovely.
That's Vikram on the guitars, Ramkumar on the drums, Sumesh on the mridangam percussion. Naveen played the bass on this track that you listened to. Rashwin plays the bass for us now. Yeah.
Okay. Lovely.
That's
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It was awesome. Thank you, sir. Every genius needs to inspire the next generation. இல்லையா அப்பதான் அந்த ஆர்ட் ஃபார்ம் இன்னும் பிளாசம் ஆகி இன்னும் நல்லா வளர்றதுக்கு இதாகும். அந்த மாதிரி இதுல ப்ளீஸ் கேன் யூ கிவ் அஸ் a bit of advice to the aspiring musicians for the future, how they can approach a career in music? Because இப்போ நிறைய பேர் they want to become musicians, ஆனா they don't know இதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன பண்ணணும் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி lot of people are thinking. அந்த வகையில is there any tips that you can share?
I think as to become a musician, the obvious way of going about it is to develop your art, spend a lot of time, practice hard, learn your instrument, learn your skill, whatever your skill set is, and get it to the best of your abilities and keep looking to improve on it. But that's sort of the simple part. Simple meaning, I say it's simple because assumption is the musician is interested in his or her own instrument. So when you're interested in something, it's easy to perfect it.
Okay.
But to go on from there to becoming a professional musician, one needs to have a lot of motivation, will, discipline, patience, because there are it can be it will be a deeply satisfying experience, but there will be some ups and downs here and there, especially in the starting, I would say. So you need to have the patience and the motivation and the will to go through with it. Helps to have a good support system as well. And it's also important from a more technical point of view to try and learn things beyond what your music is, because today's the world, everything being very interconnected, it's not enough to just learn your own skill and make it to the best of your ability, which is great and which is very important. But how about learning something from another music system? How about learning a bit more about something else? If you have learned, for example, we've been speaking so much about the fusion. So how about learning a bit about the Western part? How about a Carnatic musician learning a bit about the Hindustani? So trying to understand different elements involved, at least to a basic extent, also having good relationships with other musicians is very important. How do you play together with other musicians? That is also a very important facet to have. How do you work with other musicians? How do you take your ideas, bring in a few more ideas, and how do you convey that in a sense that would enrich anyone's listening experience, the average listener's experience? So all these things are outside of just the skill that you have. So I feel like it's a holistic development is needed as a professional musician. And from day one of being a musician out there, working with different people, this sort of experience and exposure starts accumulating. So as long as one is open, aware of what's happening, and is willing to learn, he or she can definitely become a very successful professional musician.
Absolutely. So keeping the mind open, that is very important while perceiving what you need to do. Absolutely. So nice. Thank you, sir. So over the years, you have thrilled us by playing violin, and unga journey la innum neenga you are doing a lot of groundwork, nariya composing you do, and also you have written lyrics, write pandringa, perform pandringa new songs. So we are wanting to know more about what is your inspiration to do entire or பாட்டுன்னு எடுத்தா சரி நான் மாட்டுக்கு வாசிச்சுட்டு போறேன், or just do a fusion இல்லாம பாட்டு எழுதுறது பாடுறது எல்லாமே you are trying to டியூனும் போடுறது, அது what is the inspiration to do எல்லாமே சேர்ந்து பண்ணணும்?
The inspiration for me is very simple. The motivation rather is just for me to create something special my listeners. That's something which I hold very dear. I also take a lot of pride or and a lot of interest in sort of creating something that sounds soulful, that sounds special, that sounds a bit different. So that drives me to do stuff like Manasa Sancharare or Irakam Varamal,
Yeah.
stuff like that. That gives me a lot of impetus to do stuff like that, where I've not only played the violin, but I've also arranged it. And working with brilliant musicians like Haricharan, Kirtana Vaidyanathan, dancer Shweta Prachande. I'm planning also a project now with Unikrishnan sir's daughter Uttara, uh, and again Shweta for a different project as well. So working with these artists brings a new dimension into my music, and also for me to work on arranging, composing. It makes me I think that's the holistic perspective of a musician who can create a song, who can write lyrics, maybe who can maybe create a melody, who can arrange a track. So I guess it's part of the experience of being a musician.
Thanks. Absolutely. So ungaloda favorite of your creation and to uplift our spirits, that would be really nice to listen to while we finish this show, sir. You so much for joining us on the show. It has been a fabulous experience, and thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you, Ramya. It was my pleasure. I had a good time chatting with you for the past hour. Thank you.
ஆமாக்கா, போனதே தெரியல. அப்சல்யூட்லி. சோ இன்னைக்கு உங்க கூட பேசினதுல எனக்கு கிடைச்ச ஒரு மெசேஜ், pressure of the day அப்படின்னு சொன்னா every week we do that. அதுல வந்து music is like an emotion. It is a pure energy. It is actually enlightenment. அதுக்கு வந்து நாடு, லாங்குவேஜ், ஜானர் அதெல்லாம் ஒண்ணுமே பேரியரே கிடையாது. And it is only something that connects us to the supreme. It is also something that connects all of us, together, each of us together. Let's live in music, live as music, and radiate the positive energy all around us. Bye for now. This is RJ Ramya signing off with a virtual Vanakkam. Ungal Yosane en Osai. Thank you very much.